That's right, folks. Today we're going to talk about those sexy algorithms that streaming services use to determine who gets seen and who doesn't. We're going to keep this discussion to Amazon Prime Video because, well, I could blather on about all of them for a long time. I don't think anyone wants to hear that. So we're going to keep this contained to a topic that a lot of filmmakers have some understanding of. But just be aware that other streaming services are going to have different philosophies and different algorithms to meet their needs. Hi, I'm Ethan Aho. I'm a developer by day, and by night I am a filmmaker, and sometimes even on the weekends. I'm going to be combining both of those today, developer and filmmaker, and I'm going to be going over some thoughts I have on how Amazon might be calculating the CER ratings for filmmakers, how artificial intelligence is probably going to change that in the future, if it's not already, and how trying to game the system or cheat the system is probably going to hurt your film. The word algorithm is broadly defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as a step-by-step procedure for solving a problem or accomplishing some end. Quick little disclaimer. I am not an Amazon developer. I'm not talking with any Amazon developers. But I am a developer, and I look at data all day long. I look at algorithms all day long. So what follows is really my best guess, but it's really that. It's a guess of how parts of the CER metrics could be made. But Amazon has their algorithms. They are always going to be changing it. They're always going to be tweaking them. It is their proprietary nature, and they will never release what they are to the public, because as soon as they do, it's going to change anyway. So please take this with all little grain of salt. So why does Amazon even have a customer engagement ranking CER? Well, it really boils down to, from the filmmaker's perspective, it's the algorithm used to distribute the money that Amazon has to the filmmakers. Amazon makes an obscene amount of money, just an enormous amount of money. But not every manager, not everyone at Amazon has access to that money. Each department needs to prove its own worthiness. Imagine being in charge of just Amazon Prime Video. You, the viewer here, is in charge of Amazon Prime Video. Each quarter, as the person in charge of Amazon Prime Video, you're given a bucket of money. And you're given a list of filmmakers. You need to take that bucket of money and pay the filmmakers. But each quarter, that bucket size of money changes, and the number of filmmakers and how much those films are watched changed. That's why we have a CER. There's an algorithm. It's really just about taking this amount of money and how to properly distribute it to the filmmakers. And from someone in charge of Amazon, you don't report to the filmmakers, you report to Amazon. So you want to reward the filmmakers that are helping you help Amazon. And you want to help them by giving them more money. So if you're in charge of Amazon Prime Video, you cannot treat all films as equal. They must be unequal because you need to reward those that are helping you. Enter the Bezos 2000. Da-da-da-da-da. Come with me if you want to stream. The CER algorithm at Amazon has been rumored to have hundreds of data points going into it. And I absolutely believe that, because that's what I would do. So I'm going to give a couple examples of data points that I would use as a developer at Amazon, some of the sort of low-hanging fruits to talk about. Let's go for some of the quick ones. Amazon owns IMDb. So I can pull anything I want from IMDb to help rank a film on Amazon Prime Video. So I can look, did you as a filmmaker, did you fill out the IMDb as much as possible? Did you add, nice trivia questions? Do you have a nice description? Do you have the SEO in place? What about actors? Do any of your actors have images uploaded? Because I can use that as an easy factor. If it's an IMDb page and there's no pictures anywhere on it, well, that's telling me it's probably going to get a lower ranking. The other thing to keep in mind is Google, decades ago, had PageRank, and they still do. And the idea behind PageRank for Google was that how valuable was this one web page to the internet? And it would often be based upon other web pages linking to it. So if high-ranking websites, very popular websites, were linking to your web page, then your web page had a page rank that would increase. But if you only had low-level sites that no one's ever heard of linking to your website, then Google wouldn't give you a high page rank. So it's a weird algorithm of bigger things linking to you makes it bigger. So I can take the same algorithm, or a very similar one, in Amazon Prime, and I can take the IMDb and I can look and see who's your cast and crew, and were they part of anything bigger, right? You just upload an IMDb page. Well, do any of the actors, are they acting in other films that maybe have a high CER rating? Because if so, in the algorithm, I'm gonna bump up your film just a little bit, because you brought in a cast and crew of people that I have confirmable high CER rankings for on other projects. So that's just some simple things. Another low-hanging fruit for CER would be average watch time of your film. If your film's been seen by 1,000 people, how many of them stopped after a minute, stopped after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes? How many made it all the way through? That will matter a lot to me as a developer, because I want to make the viewers of Amazon Prime happy, and if they're not going to finish your film, then they weren't happy with it. Notice I haven't talked about customer reviews and customer ratings of films, because as a developer, I really don't care about that. It will probably factor into the CER rating, but it's not going to have a very big effect. And the reason is because it's so easy to manipulate, and it doesn't necessarily equal good data. Different types of viewers will care about ratings, and other types of viewers will not. I'm going to care from the individual viewer. What kind of viewer is that, and will they like this film? And I'm going to assume, because there's user input on metrics of ratings and comments, that it can be muddy data, and I'm not going to give it as much credence as metrics that you may not even be aware of. So, while ratings and comments are important to you as a filmmaker, as a developer, I would say don't worry about them too much. Encourage people to rate, encourage people to comment, but do not spend a whole lot of time and energy on that aspect. Think of the CER algorithm as having a whole bunch of knobs and levers that people can tweak and turn and twist and pull to change the outcome. And if I was in charge of the CER algorithm, I would have a list of films, maybe like 100 films, and I would track how each change to the algorithm affected the CER rankings for these films. And I would have an idea of what my goal for the CER ranking of each of these films are. And there might be others on the team or managers that have the same sort of a different list of films that they have strong opinions on. And that way, by making a change to this algorithm, we can pump it through the algorithm and see how these 100 films will be affected. And if the results of these films going through this algorithm coming out the end, if we like the results of what we're seeing from a human standpoint of a sample of it, then we're going to extrapolate that and think that the algorithm is doing well for all films. So I would expect that Amazon is adjusting this on a regular basis. And one of the reasons they're going to be adjusting this is the pile of money they have to give out and the number of films they have and they need to pay out on vary from quarter to quarter. And so they need to keep things within range, and they need to say that this pile of money is going to get distributed to X amount of filmmakers. And we're going to do it using this algorithm to try to be as fair as we can and reward the films that we care about the most. So far, I've really just talked about some algorithms and humans turning knobs and seeing results. But what about artificial intelligence? I believe Amazon's already using this to some extent, and they're going to be using it more to come. There is artificial intelligence on Earth. There's a whole industry around it. It is not C-3PO. It is not the Cylons. It is... Artificial intelligence in this world today is about data in and data out. And one of the best examples I've seen of that is X-rays. So you go to an artificial intelligence computer and you feed it, here is a 10,000 X-rays. And here's the diagnoses from doctors, right? And you can find that information, right? Hospitals will have that. You feed it to the AI system. And now the AI system is taught how to do it. And artificial intelligence will create a new program, a whole new algorithm that it uses to take an input of a new X-ray and output a diagnosis. And no human can look at that algorithm and say, oh, I understand what's going on. It's not human readable. It is computer readable. It is not human readable. And that's one of the scary parts of a lot of the artificial intelligence systems out there, is that you don't know what it's making. You don't understand what data points it's looking at, how it came to determine the answers that it is. But you can see the answers it gives. So you teach an AI system, you get 10,000 X-rays, creates a new program, you pass in a new X-ray, and it pumps out an answer, and you're like, haha, that's the right answer. Now I'm going to pump in 1,000 X-rays and get 1,000 answers back. And this is going to be a set that I already know what the answers are. And I can say, like, oh, all of them are correct. Or I might come out and say, half of them are wrong. So how do you fix this? Well, it's an input and output system. So you now teach this same algorithm by giving it 20,000 X-rays and 20,000 diagnoses. And then you give it your test sample again, and you see, did it get better? Are its answers better? And over time, if you feed it enough data points of here's the input and here's what we want the output to be, it will figure out its own little algorithm. It's only readable by computers. And going forward, you can now pass it in new X-rays, and it'll spit out what's wrong with those X-rays. That's how AI systems work. So how could this possibly help Amazon Prime with your film? Well, here's one example, right? So, ratings. A lot of independent filmmakers are not paying to get official ratings. No R rating, PG-13, G ratings. We're not paying for that on a lot of our films, but we're uploading it to Amazon. But Amazon might care about that. So Amazon can create an AI, and you think, what would it use for the AI? Well, let's say perchance that somehow someone at Amazon was able to get a hold of 10,000 naked photos of people. I don't know where they're going to get it. It is the internet. Maybe they have to go to the public library. But let's say they can get a hold of 10,000 pictures of naked people. Well, now they can create an algorithm. An AI can create an algorithm that will detect nudity in these films that are uploaded. And it can detect how much nudity, what parts of nudity. Those are all things it can do. And so it can help that with a factor of what your rating is. It can also, you yell at Alexa all the time, and Alexa knows what you're saying. Well, usually. But you take that same technology and you can now scan the audio of a film to see how many curse words and how frequent they are. So with nudity known and curse words, or even just maybe not even curse words, but just words that they're concerned about, now they can create their own rating for your film. And that would just be one little metric of the giant algorithm that they're using for the CER. And that's really how I see Amazon using AI going forward. They're going to use it to augment the already existing CER algorithm that they have. They're either going to add a new data point to it based upon these AI algorithms, or they're going to augment or improve some of the existing pieces that they're already using as data points. Maybe IMDb, we talked about how those can have like their own sort of data points. Well, maybe there's a way that AI could do that even better, right? There's a lot of data in IMDb. So there's a good chance that that data could be fed in and teach an AI system to output a certain metric that can be used in the CER. So expect to see these AIs get used more and more. I've been focusing on how Amazon relates to filmmakers through CER, but we should at least address the fact that Amazon's going to have more than one algorithm. And it's not just about CER. They need to treat their customers different too. They can have a customer that earns them tons of money. And that type of customer, well, what does that customer watch on Amazon Prime Video? Because if they're happy with that, let's give them more of that. But if there's a customer that uses free shipping on Amazon Prime to order a pack of gum once a day, and it costs them more money to ship it than they're making on it, then that wouldn't be a good customer, and they want to know what that customer's watching. So there is a chance that this Amazon CER algorithm is tying into these other algorithms, and you could end up in a situation where your audience may not be the audience that Amazon wants to have more of, and that affects your CER, because they're not going to reward you if you're bringing them an audience they don't want. There's one part where I feel that the customer's interaction with Amazon or any streaming service is going to be greatly improved by artificial intelligence in the next few years. Imagine like 10 years from now, there's just going to be, these streaming services are going to be full of movies. There's going to be a glutton of content, a cornucopia of media. And the recommendation algorithms are going to be king at this point. Keeping your viewers happy as a streaming service is going to be very important, but there's just so much content that you can keep any viewer happy as long as you can keep putting the right content in front of them, because there's going to be so much media out there. So it's going to be very important that the AI systems take these millions of subscribers and all their viewing habits over years, and these artificial intelligence are going to then spit out some algorithm that a human can't read, but it's going to get really good at predicting what films you as a viewer would like to watch next. So when you're making your film and you're marketing your film and you're doing SEO for your film, care about that. Care about 5 years from now. So I did promise to talk to you about how trying to game the system or cheat the system is going to not end well for your film. So let's dig into that now. I've seen online filmmakers try to set up review swaps, or even set up a group of filmmakers whose purpose was to watch other filmmakers' movies. You know, maybe even it was even hinted at in the background tab of your browser, and let it run through and then rate it afterwards. I've heard of distribution companies asking all the filmmakers that they're distributing to go into each other's films and rate them. And to all these ideas, I just want to say, don't. Just don't do that. You're teaching the algorithms bad. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Just don't do it. So let's imagine that you get 500 other filmmakers involved, and you got a gaggle of people to watch your film when it comes out. So your movie, Zombie Toes, The Day of the Flip-Flops comes out. And you get these 500 filmmakers. They're all going to open Amazon Prime. They're going to open your film. They're going to hit play. And they're going to let it play in the background. They might even mute it. Then after it finishes playing, they go over and they rate it. They say, oh, great film, 5-star. Well, your dashboard may initially show some, ooh, this is good. But you shot yourself in the foot. You really did. Because of those 500 filmmakers, are they fans of this film for real? Are they really into hokey zombie films? Right? Because if they're not, then you've created a problem, because your film has now been watched and rated by people that aren't really fans of your film. And so when Amazon now takes your film, it's like, hey, let's try recommending this to, I don't know, 50,000 users, right? Only they're not fans of hokey zombie films, and they're not going to click on it. Or maybe they click on it, but they don't like it, and they stop watching it partway through. And the problem is you just create a situation where you've taught the Amazon algorithm that people don't want to watch your film. Rather, if you had just found the people that like hokey zombie films to watch your film, then Amazon algorithm would say, oh, this is the person that likes, bad zombie films. Let's show it to other people that like bad zombie films. And then it gets recommended. Only in that case, the recommendations work and the people click into it and they watch it. And you just taught the algorithm who your audience is. So when you're trying to get people to watch your film and rate your film and comment on your film, it can't just be your mom and her friends and your dad and his friends. It needs to be the actual audience that wants to see your film. So you need to go find that audience. You need to show them that film and teach the algorithm that this is the person you want to watch the film. Don't try to cheat the system or game the system, because what you're doing is you're teaching the system, you're teaching the algorithms who should watch your films. And if you don't do it right, you're going to teach it that no one wants to watch your film. So in conclusion, what should you do as a filmmaker? Well, I would recommend that you follow best practices. You go to IMDb, you fill that out as best you can. You make artwork for your film that isn't a bait and switch, that represents what your film is. You're going to write out a good description, and you're going to market to your audience. And you're going to try to get your film in front of your audience. And if you follow the best practices, if you market right, and if you sprinkle in a little bit of luck, then you might find success with these algorithms helping to find more of the same audience that you just trained them actually want to watch your film. So there is no trick. There's no way to cheat the system. Just try to do your best, rinse, and repeat. I hope you liked this video. I hope I changed your thinking just a little bit. And if you happen to like retro sci-fi films, then you can head over to rocketsinspace.com and view my upcoming retro sci-fi projects. And I want to thank Jay Horton for allowing me to speak on his channel. Hopefully I'll get the chance in the future too. In the meantime, Queen Wave, bye-bye.